Welcome back. This is our MRS22 Spring 2023 final part 1 review for question number 2. And so for this one, it's another calculator question. And so we're going to be using a calculator here. The table below shows the scores on a writing test in an English class. The first row, xi, is all the particular scores, but the second row is the frequency, how may they occur. So for example, for 95, there were 4 tests that had 95. There were 13 tests at 85, 11 tests with 75, 6 tests with 70, and 2 tests with 65. So we're going to use a graphing calculator to find things like, for example, the mean and the standard deviation to the nearest tenth. So let's get our graphing calculator ready. So we're going to use, in this case, the button Stat for this here. So we hit Stat, and we're going to edit. We're going to basically change the scores here. Now these are scores from previous questions. To get rid of these values, go to the top, hit Clear, and hit Enter. And what does, don't hit Delete, don't use Delete, just Clear and Enter. Go to the left one, go up, Clear and Enter, and it clears all the data for us. So now we're going to enter in the data, the scores here, and in the order we saw, first was 95, and then 85, then 75, then 70, and then 65. We go over to L2, which is the frequency, and we're going to fill in 4 for 95, 13 for 85, 11 for 75, 6 for 70, and 2 for 65. So now we enter our data. We're going to now again press Stat, but this time around, instead of going Edit, we're going to go to Calc. And because in this case we have test scores and the frequency, it's only one variable. Therefore, we're using one variable Stat. So enter. Now we have list is L1, but we need to add our frequency list, which is L2. To do this, we hit second 2. Okay, and then enter, and enter again. And so we see here in this case, our mean is the top value of x bar, or x to the bar of it, it's 79.4. And our standard deviation we're going to use is the population standard deviation, which in this case is a smaller one, 8.4 to nearest tenth, I believe it was. So we record that information. And so for part A, our mean to the nearest tenth, we said was 79.4. And our standard deviation, that value is going to be 8.4. Now for part B, what is the number of scores that fall within one standard deviation of the mean? So what that means in this case for part B is that we're going to take our score of the mean plus one standard deviation, which is 79.4 plus 8.4, and the mean minus one deviation, 79.4 minus 8.4. And so the lower end of 79.4 minus 8.4 will be 71. And the higher end, which is 79.4 plus 8.4, should be in this case 87.8. So now we have the range of scores between 71 and 87.8. Now that means in this case, we're going to be looking at any score above 71, which includes 75 and 85, but not any score above 87.8. Well, that would be in this case 11 plus 13, or 24 is the number of scores. Okay, so that's part B. And we continue here, part C, which says in this case to find the nearest tenth, the percentage of scores this data that are within one standard deviation of the mean. Okay, so now we know how many scores there are. There's 24 scores, right, that are within mean. And now if we add up all of these numbers, 4, 13, 11, 6, and 2, we will get 36. So part C would be the fraction of 24 over 36, but as a percentage to the nearest tenth percentage scores, that would be in this case 66.7%, because it's 0.66 repeating, so round to two decimal places, to round, actually move decimals over and then round to nearest tenth, it's 66.7%. Part D says what number of scores that fall within two standard deviations of the mean. Okay, so on this, I'm going to use the left side here. So this was space-wise. So I have the mean plus 2 deviations and the mean minus 2 deviations. And so in this case, we said the mean was, I believe in this case, was 79.4 plus 2 times 8.4. And then 79.4 minus 2 times 8.4. Okay, so let's take a look here, right? Now, if we find, in this case, 79.4 times 2 plus 2 times 8.4, let's see, bring our calculator here. So 79.4 plus 8.4, and that gives us 96.2. That's our top number, okay? And now we'll do the bottom number, in this case, 79.4. We get 62.6. Okay? And so that means we're trying to find how many scores are there between that. So let's take a look here. Well, that would mean, in this case, between 62.6 and 96.2, that's, well, all of them. So that would be 36 scores. Of course, you need to show the work here. Now, find to nearest tenth the percentage of scores in this data that are within two standard deviations of the mean. Well, within two standard deviations of the mean, well, that means in this case 36 over 36 is 100%. Okay, and so yeah, all the data will fall in that range. So there you go. So this is all about just using our calculator to help us find the mean standard deviation, and then of course using it to figure out particular values. You know, sometimes in this case we do this to find a range of things, and you'll see in even other questions later on that we need them, you know, to be able to help find us values like, I don't know, like z-scores and I guess areas or percentages, normal CDF, all that wonderful stuff here. But we don't necessarily need that. Doesn't mean that the data is normally distributed. We just kind of try to find, you know, using the mean and the standard deviation in this situation. Okay. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and just knowing how to use a calculator for our final. And so, you know, hope this was good. If you found this helpful, please, you know, leave a like and hit a, you know, give us a like, thumbs up in this case, subscribe to our channel, and leave comments about whether what you thought that you liked or maybe didn't like, you know, and anything else to go over. All right. Thanks so much, everyone. Look forward to seeing you guys again, and good luck on your final. Take care.